This is Blackstone Joe, and you're listening to Slick Talk.
If I say I'm an oil man, you will agree.
There's the stink of oil about you.
Hello and welcome into Slick Talk. I'm your host, Blackstone Joe, and I'm glad you're here. In the world of oil analysis, people often want to know if they can run the oil longer. But some people aren't as interested in running the oil longer as they are just keeping the oil filter in place. I wrote a report for a customer today that dealt with that very same interest, and I got to thinking how many of you might wonder how we evaluate oil filtration in a report. So without further ado, I'll give you the example that brought this episode about, that being a sample from a 2022 F-150, powered by a 3.5-liter EcoBoost. And in this particular instance, the customer had put 9,409 miles on their oil filter. They didn't mention the exact brand or variety, but I feel like it's probably safe to assume it was a Motorcraft filter. But in any case, brand aside, we can see that this oil filter was holding up well. And the way we can tell is based on how many solids are present. And when it comes to a used oil sample, we'll be able to find solids during the insolubles test, where we take a portion of the sample and give it a spin in the centrifuge and see what percentage of solid material is present in the sample. And typically, you'll want to see a level below 0.6% of the sample volume. And in this case, insolubles were far below, just 0.1%. Now, these aren't solids that got past the air filter. They aren't chunks of debris or foreign material, let's say. Insolubles are instead those oxidized solids that form as the oil is exposed to heat, use, and blow-by. It's the oil itself oxidizing and becoming those solids that we'll then find in the insolubles tube. With insolubles at a low level, we can see the oil filter wasn't close to being used up, but you might be wondering, how did the rest of the report look with that oil filter being in use for an interval that, by the way, was twice as long as anything the customer had sampled previously, either in terms of use on the oil or use on the filter. In this case, everything looked good, not just the insolubles level. Wear metals were even lower than we had seen them in the past. The viscosity read in the expected range, and there was no contamination from fuel, coolant, or excess dirt. Now, I mentioned that wear had improved. We were finding less metal in the oil than we had in previous samples. That isn't necessarily due to keeping the oil filter in use, of course, but it is good news in the sense that anytime an engine makes less metal over the course of one oil change interval compared to the prior intervals you sampled, that tells us not only that the engine was a good fit for the interval, the use included, the oil, the filter you're running, it also means that there's no mechanical trouble that is evident in those results, which is something we're always going to be on the lookout for, regardless of what has changed in your setup. With that, it stands to reason that the customer could run their next oil filter even longer than the filter they already had in use. Now, they hadn't mentioned an interest in keeping that filter in use, at least on slips prior that we had seen. But one thing that's nice is even if they didn't know about this particular data point, we could look back at past samples from this engine and see that insolubles were low on a routine basis. There were 3 samples prior to this latest one we're focusing on, and in each of those instances, insolubles were either at 0.1% or only a trace had shown up. Now, a trace is not even enough solid material to put a percentage on. Here, the customer had developed a trend which, whether they knew about the insolubles reading being the key or not, they have a reliable trend established where we can see, hey, insolubles were low before and they're low now. So clearly, whether you keep that filter in use for the 4,000 to 5,000 miles they're typically doing, or an oil run closer to about 9,500 miles, as they had done this time, they couldn't go wrong either way. So this oil filter was holding up well, and it stands to reason they could run the next filter even longer. I would say an interval close to 15,000 miles should be easy work based on the previous samples they have in the file and this latest set of results. On a related note, many of our customers want to know our stance on bypass filtration and if they need a bypass setup in order to run the oil or the oil filter longer. Now, in this customer's case, they did not need to do anything different with the oil filter setup to achieve a longer interval on that filter. But here's the thing. Adding a bypass setup, in our experience, certainly never hurts. And in fact, it can help keep insolubles lower over a longer period. But I would say this. If you're a customer like this one we've been talking about, they have a track record of insolubles being low. And not only that, they were able to extend the interval longer than what they had been doing before and still had a low insolubles level. So if they were to come to me and say, do I need a bypass filtration setup? I would be hard pressed to say yes. And that's not uncommon in a lot of other cases. So I would say that if you want to gauge the need for a bypass setup, go about it like this customer did and string together a few samples and see where that insolubles level ends up over time. If you consistently have a low reading and you don't necessarily want to have to change anything on your end, then I would say you don't have to if insolubles are proving to be low on a repeat basis. But on the other hand, if you want to try and improve on a result, or you see that insolubles tend to approach that 0.6% we consider high, it wouldn't hurt to give bypass filtration a try. See if that brings about some progress on your end. So while adding a bypass setup certainly won't hurt, I can't recall an instance where insolubles went from being low on a routine basis to all of a sudden ending up high just because a bypass filtration setup was put in. The best news of all is that whether or not you use a bypass setup, you can rely on insolubles and where those end up to tell you if shorter intervals are needed, or maybe you do need to try something differently with your oil filtration setup. The data will tell you how many solids are present. And then you can act on those results without assuming that you need to change something on your end. Look to the insolubles level, and of course, we'll be looking at everything else too to gauge how long the interval should be, whether or not it's safe to extend, or if you need to back off. As with picking an oil or an oil change interval, it's always a safe bet to start with what the manufacturer recommends and then extend from there, provided the results allow for it. Then, if we see the need to make any change, whether that be to your interval or your setup, we'll be sure to let you know which way the data points. As in this F-150's case and its oil change interval schedule, it certainly looks like they're doing all the right things using testing to gauge how their engine, the oil, and the oil filter are keeping up. If you have questions about the ideal oil change interval for you or your car, or you're wondering how to get started in the wide world of oil analysis, feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. That brings today's show to a close. Thank you so much for hanging with me. This is Blackstone Joe, signing off.
The Slick Talk podcast is powered by Blackstone Laboratories. If you're ready to start your oil analysis journey, visit blackstone-labs.com to order your free test kit.